Jamie, pleasing sight at full time today as the Sirens got their first win of the season. Pleased?
Yeah, very pleased because again, it's just bringing of those previous performances together, like we spoke about previously. It's really pleasing that we're showing our calmness and control in possession, recognise when to change in tempo or the direction where we want to go, but also showing that we have got that resilience and robustness when we haven't got the ball. It's been really hard to break down. Dug deep, scored 2 good goals today, and yeah, very happy.
Let's talk about the goals. We'll talk about the first one. Did she mean it?
I think she'd worked hard enough and showed real quality on the ball in order to get some credit for that. I think it was a great solo, kind of dribble and drive, shrugged a few little shoulders and stuff to get a time and space, and yeah, I think it's a just reward. So whether she meant it or not, I think it's a good outcome for what she'd done. So fair play to her.
Was it a bit disappointing though that following that sort of goal from Meg that you couldn't sort of go into the half time with the lead?
Yeah, definitely. And it always kind of sparks some questions in your mind around how you change the discussion or the approach. But ultimately, that one little moment doesn't change all the positive that we saw throughout that first half. Of course, there's some sort of impact, but we can't let that change the whole dynamic of how positive we were in that first half. So, yeah, ultimately disappointing, but you're going to concede goals in football games. It's just how we try and reduce the amount that happens and try and come out with more goals than the other team. So,
of course, going into the game, you went with quite a young squad today and made quite a few changes. You had Gilly, that was your captain today, Sarah in goal. Was there some of those enforced changes, or were they just planned ones as well?
They were planned because we always said that we wanted to give players time and opportunity to prove and show that they've improved themselves, which is really important for us. That's the whole process that we're talking about is management and as a club, that we're all in this together, and that means that people deserve their opportunities, and I feel like everyone has stepped up and done a really good job with that today. Although there was a clear difference in terms of when you saw Brit Jill come on the pitch, when you saw Eddie Chafe come on the pitch, just in terms of that consistency at this sort of level. But credit to the young players that did really, really well with their starts today and put themselves in good stead moving forward.
You mentioned it there about the substitutes, Brit Jill and Ellie Chafe. When they came on, they seemed to change the sort of the game. The energy around the team seemed changed, and within a few minutes, Brit pops up with a goal. Yeah,
definitely, and that's something that Brit offers us so much, is that kind of dynamism and that creativity, and Ellie as well to an extent. It's great creativity and quality amongst those two. So we always knew that there would be a slight adaptation in what we're trying to achieve by bringing those two on the pitch, and ultimately the impact happened fairly quickly after. And just another point raised to your previous question, Sarah Luce was outstanding today. I've been incredibly proud of, from the discussion that we had at the beginning of the season, and we've been totally open and honest around how we feel throughout the whole process, and she's been a massive credit to this football club, considering she's had limited minutes. She's kind of our biggest support, our biggest cheerleader from the sideline, really driving the positivity. So when she comes on and puts a performance like that today, makes us incredibly proud, because that's what this is all about. And if we forget what direction we want to go in as a football club, talk about our main value, which is togetherness. Sarah's been emphasising that the whole start of this season, so I couldn't be prouder of her. Like, absolute role model for all the young players in this group.
And of course, it now takes the team into the second round of the plate. But aside from that bit of a cup run, what does this win mean for you and the team, considering the start that we've had?
So when we spoke about results previously, again, of course, the more games you go without a win, it does, a little bit of uncertainty does seem to creep in a little bit. But we always knew that the process was going to drive us through. We knew that Bridgwater would be tough today, and ultimately just a matter of the players being able to bring those small chunks of things that they've stood out really well in games and brought it together. And we're still by no means near where we want to be, because there's still a long way for us to go, but that took real strides today to get us to that point. So that's the positive spin, really. So essentially, it's great, because winning's a habit, and if you pick up on those habits and kind of the taste of what it's like to get that win, then hopefully that's what motivates you and drives you externally, really.
And this is something now you can take into the upcoming fixtures away to Portishead and Selsey.
Yeah, definitely 2 really tough games coming up because, where we're at, there's a bit of pressure on us to get results in those 2 games, but we know that they're not going to be any easy feat. So we can't afford to rest on our laurels. We've got to take the momentum from today and all of the positives that we've taken from today, learn from kind of little points of development that we have taken as a group, and really put those markers down in those 2 games. Essentially, we've got 5 or 6 really important games coming up now where some really positive results can change the whole dynamic at the start of the season, because it has been a tough start to the season. You look at Keynsham, we lost 1-0 after feeling like we had large chunks of the game, but they've been going and getting really good results against other teams. So that puts a marker. Bournemouth have been outstanding. So again, to lose 4-0, obviously we're disappointed, but still positives because there's lots of other things that could have happened in those games that affect kind of where we're at in terms of our situation. So yeah, essentially important games coming up. We've got to try and get as many wins as we can.